Hey guys, another repair video now. We have a little 1920s or thereabouts dressing table clock to fix. I'm with all my repairs lately. I've got lots going on and I'm trying to push them through as quickly as I can. I've been concentrating on the bigger ones. That's why you've seen a solar panel and a turntable, a couple of lamps. This is Christine's, and we all know that Christine's jobs get pushed to the front of the queue. So I thought I'd see if I can fix this. Now, I don't know if you can hear it at the moment, but it is actually ticking. It's in pretty good condition cosmetically. It's actually made from a product called Xylonite, which is a form of celluloid. So probably 1920s, probably an English, maybe a German wind-up movement. It's just got the controls in the back. So as you can see, it's nice and clean. It does have the residue from an old price sticker on the top, and I think we might just polish that off. It's gone dry, it's not sticky. We might just polish that off with a bit of Brasso or something, because I really don't want to put solvents on this. This stuff does react badly to some solvents. But the problem is that the hour hand isn't moving. So I wound it up. It's been ticking away for an hour and a half now, and it still says, the hour hand still says around about 12:30. It hasn't moved. And if I wind the hand winder at the back, you'll see that, oh, I'm winding backwards. That's confusing. You'll see it moved a bit, didn't it? Oh, now it's moving perfectly. Okay, so it made a liar out of me for a little bit, but look, it has got a fault, because now if I wind it, let's go forwards. If I wind it forwards now, you'll see that the hour hand actually stays on the 3. So something's jamming the hour hand up. The fact that it moved a bit before was interesting. It's the first time I'd have done that, but I did wind it backwards. So it may be just slipping on the shaft. It might be a simple fix. Let's pull it apart and have a look, see if we can sort it out. Okay, it's merrily ticking away, so the spring and everything's pretty good. Now, I've got to get it out of, I think the whole thing just pushes in or out from the front. So if we wind the winder the opposite way, it will unscrew. The hour hand, or the adjust thing, something might fit through, but I think we might just take it off anyway. And there's a couple of screws. So pretty easy to get into. The case is in amazing condition for 100-year-old Xylonite, which is, yeah, an early form of plastic. And I often see it where it's cracked or it's badly stained. And I think celluloid can actually get something they call celluloid rot, whereas it actually starts to break down. So this is in remarkably good condition. You'll see it's got stripes on it. I think you can make that out in the camera there. I think it was made to imitate ivory. So all right, let's pull the clock out. It should just lift straight out. Let's get my favorite tool here. Hopefully it doesn't. Yep, it's going to lift up okay. We don't want to crack the case. It's a fairly firm press fit. There's nothing holding the back. Okay, it's caught on the casing. I don't want to force that. How can we get this out? Okay, I think we need a wider blade, but we don't want to mark the plastic at all. So let's protect things. In fact, we'll put it in there so we're protected both sides. Yeah, that's pushing up with a little bit more force. We've just got to work our way around, I think. Certainly an interference fit. It is working its way up, slowly but surely. Okay, I'm just going to put a bit of machine oil around it, because it's just jamming very tightly, and I think it just needs a little bit of lubrication. The stuff is fairly brittle, and I certainly don't want to crack it. I noticed this edge has just come away. I think that's just a glued join, and it's just come away a bit. I don't think I did that. I think it was like it. But oil shouldn't affect the material, certainly at least for a short term. So this will just help it come out, because I think the plastic's kind of flexing and grabbing, whereas this should stop it. Okay. It's only very thin, you can actually see it flexing. I think the oil's helping. I wasn't expecting this much trouble to get it out. Well, it was certainly never going to fall out. Well, I've got a bit of a way, but it's not letting go easily. We'll be able to re-glue that fine, as long as we don't break anything. I might try a bit more oil around there, I think. I wonder if it's possibly swollen over all these years. But it's certainly an interference fit. It's actually, maybe it's out of round. That might be the problem too. Yeah, went a little bit looser, but I think we've just got to keep working it out. No, I think I've got to the back of it here. Yeah, we have. Oh. Okay, the back part's just as tight. Well, not quite, but oh Jesus, that was a battle. I reckon it's swollen up. Something's stretched over that. Anyway, we didn't damage it. In fact, I don't even think we need to glue the sides. I think they're going to sit fine. So the case is still in good condition. Hopefully it goes in easier than it came out, but we got it out without any major trauma. And still ticking away happily. So at least that part of it's good. You know what? Maybe the spring had pushed that side out. Maybe the spring needs to be unwound before the movement comes out. Because when it's wound tight, it pushes. You can see how it's bulged out that side. Interesting. Anyway, the clock movement's going really well. There's no problems there. We need to get into the dial and see what's going on with that. I think this case is supposed to just slide off the front, but goodness knows how we're going to get that off. I don't think this thing was put together with service in mind. Can we get it to slide off? That doesn't want to move. Oh, you know, I reckon that moved a little bit. That's going to be a real challenge to get that out without breaking anything. That's so tight, it's jammed in there. I can't get anything between the two. And I think it's just a press fit over the front. If I can get the blade in here somewhere, I might be able to free it up. There's just no gaps, it's just so tight. Ah, okay. Now, at the risk of cracking it, if we can slide the blade around, it's come out. Oh, okay. That may help. It looks to have a bit of stretch in it, which surprised me. I thought it might just crack. Alright, we're working our way around. Some parts are tighter than others. But it may free it up enough to get it to slide off. I think we've done a lap, haven't we? I reckon it's moved a little bit. Okay, I'm just working it around a little bit like this. It's stretching the material. I think it is making a little bit of headway. It's certainly not a job for the impatient, I can tell you. Alright, so I'm thinking I'm actually getting somewhere, because there's a small gap in here now. So we're definitely making some progress. There's about a mil gap all the way around, which corresponds with a little bit of a line I can see around here. So it is moving. I guess I've just got to persist. I don't want to crack it, as I said. I'm surprised it's got a bit of flex in it. Now, if I work my way around, we might have a bit of a burr on here I can file off later, but it's not going to be a problem. I want to try and avoid levering around the face because, of course, that's all visible. Whereas at the back here, it doesn't matter if it's a little bit chewed up, you'll never see it. It is easier to put the blade under now, so whether I've stretched it a bit, I'm not sure. But I'm just going to keep working around here. And I get the feeling that's actually going much quicker. Because I can almost see there's a screw under there. So where that screw is, there's a little bit of a dent there where the screw head was. Now it's here. So once we get past those screw heads, I think it'll come off much easier. I hope it's an easy fix after all this. It'll be like a 20-minute video just to get the thing apart. Whoops. And 2 minutes to fix it. At least going back together should be much easier. And through all this trauma, it's still ticking away. Hasn't missed a beat. Aha. There we go. What an effort that was. And we didn't crack it. I'll just run a bit of sandpaper around that before I put it back together. And that doesn't actually get us into anywhere, except it gets us access to the screws to be able to take the movement out, which is what we needed. So after all that, dismantle should be relatively easy. Oh, the spring's putting a bit of pressure on here. I wonder how that's going to go if we stretch that past it. It won't unwind the spring, but it'll allow it to spread out a bit, I think. There we go. So those screws are in different positions. So we'll be able to line that up again. We'll clean the glass before I put it back together too. And it's still ticking, so the clock's in good condition. We just need to work out why the hour hand isn't moving properly. Okay, I've been studying this movement and I have noticed that there's quite a bit of end float on the hand or time adjust shaft, which goes right through to the front. Now that's not necessarily a problem on its own, but I think just looking in behind the face, and you're not going to be able to see it from there, I think there's a little bit of wear to the gears, and one of them's actually missing when the shaft is right forward. So when you're trying to adjust the time, you tend to naturally push in, and I think the gear was missing. It actually seems to be working perfectly fine now, both directions. It's actually stopped right there, see? And if I can have a look in the back, yes, the gears, you won't be able to see this again, but the gears have moved a bit and they're not meshing. And if I adjust it that way, it is moving again. So I'm going to take the face off. To do that, we have to take the hands off. I'm not sure what we can actually do about it, but we need to get in and have a look. So I have a hand removing tool here. It's actually for watches, but I think it'll probably work on this one. There we go. And the hour hand, they both just press on. There we go. I don't know if you can see this. Beautiful. That actually works quite well. You can buy these cheaply on eBay. I bought it for doing watch repairs, and I haven't really delved into the world of watch repairs yet, but it's paid for itself just then. Alright, I think this is a paper dial. I don't know if we even need to take it off, to be honest, because the plate behind it comes off too. Yeah, we might leave that well alone. So there's a few screws from the back here to undo, and the whole front plate will come off, allowing access to those gears. So there's only 2 screws, I think, maybe 3. I think only 2 by the feels of that. Alright, so there's the plate. One of the gears has fallen forward. The other ones are still attached. Now that one went that way, and that's the one that the hour hand sits on. So I think you'll be able to see here when I was moving the time adjust at the back, it turns all those gears, but this front cog was actually missing. It's supposed to engage on this one, and the cog was just slipping past it and not turning it, I think, or it was the one behind. I don't know, we'll have to make sure that there's not so much free play there. The actual cogs and the teeth and everything look okay. So I'll just study them a little bit and see if we can work out how we can. I might need a little shim washer in there or something so it can't move so far. That should fix it. Okay, let's see if we can get you a good view of this. This is the drive wheel down the middle, or the drive shaft. This is just an idler cog, and it runs on the other cog that I've already taken off, that then runs the hour hand. So the shaft in the middle is the minute hand, that turns fine all the time. The shaft on the other cog here, that's where the hour hand goes on. So it's driven via this cog, and if I turn the hands round, you can see it's rotating, but then it misses. If we pull that center shaft back like that, it clicks down and it drives fine. But when we push it forward, every now and again, it actually misses. There we go, look at that. So how to fix that? We'll get a little shim washer under here just to lift it up a bit, and it should stay meshed with that cog there, and that should solve all our problems. Okay, I have the tiniest of little washers here, which will shim it out perfectly. It always pays to keep a bucket of little watch parts and clock parts. That fits over there great. It'll just give it enough that the teeth should stay meshed all the time. All I'm going to do now before I reassemble it is just give it a really light touch of clock oil on all the points. It's not really a service because I haven't washed it all down. I feel that it's the old oil isn't really gumming things up because the clock's running so well, but it won't hurt to put just the tiniest dot of oil on all the points before I reassemble it, and it should be right for a long time now. So just the tiniest dot of oil. Remember, we don't want to over oil anywhere because too much oil is almost as much of a problem as not enough oil, and we don't oil any of the actual teeth, just the pivots. Certainly no oil on the hairspring. It's burst into life again, a little bit on the pallet, and the other side if I can get in there. There we go, that's what we need. Now as I assemble this, I am going to put a little bit of oil on this little spacer washer. So I'll put that over there where it's going to go. Just a little bit of oil on that, then we can put our gear back on. It meshes nicely. And the hour hand gear on the top, which holds the other one in position, and then that goes through the front plate. Okay, reassembly now. Should be easier than dismantling. I'll put our front plate back on. Now, as I said, I think there's a paper dial. I'm not going to touch it. It's quite clean and neat as it is. So if you try and clean them, sometimes they end up worse. So we're just going to leave that well alone and work out which way this goes. Okay, that's got the face back on. Now we've got to put the hands on. Press that on carefully with our thumbnails. Okay, that's pretty good. Probably should have had finger cots on or something. Didn't want to leave a dirty big thumbprint on the face, but we got away with that one. And our hand now moves beautifully. Let's leave it at 9 o'clock. We'll put the minute hand on. Press that on with the tweezers. I think that's on far enough. Double check. It did get stuck at 11 before. We should be right now. Fantastic. Looks perfect. Alright, we're ticking away happily here still. Let's just put a little bit of oil in the spring. Again, I'm not really servicing it, but just while we've got it apart, we'll just put a little bit in the spring. It'll distribute itself around as it's wound up. We don't ever want so much oil that it drips. Okay, now we're ready to reassemble this very uncooperative case. But I think we're right now. We will clean the glass though while we've got this far, because I'm sure we can get it looking better than that. Okay, for glass cleaning, I just use up whatever glass cleaner I found in someone's shed. In this case, it's Windex, just to get all the grime and oily stuff off. And then I'll use a little bit of methylated spirits and wipe it over with a tissue, and it just leaves it streak free and it dries very quickly. And it looks pretty sparkly to me. I'll just leave that dry. It'll dry pretty much straight away. Try not to get fingerprints on it. And we can pop it back in the housing. Fingerprints on the front don't matter so much because we can wipe them from the front. But if we have a dirty fingerprint on the inside, we're never going to get to it unless we dismantle again. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now, to reinstall this piece, which way was up? We had mounting screws at different heights. There we go. So I just filed a few little burrs off that, but it wasn't too bad actually. So let's push this back onto here. I'm just going to assemble it dry. I don't want to put any lube on it. And we'll probably line the little bumps up with where the screws are. Yep, I think that's how it went. So we'll press that on there. Much easier to put on than it was to take off. So that's home now. We can put it back in the case. So I'll just make sure there's no oil left around here. I don't want oil products on this plastic long term. And that case is pretty good. Other than the top, we can fix that up once it's together. So we just push this back into the case, which was a very tight fit, if you remember. I think it's going to work easier this way because it flexes the whole case in, whereas when we were trying to pull it out, the case was wanting to come with us. And it's got it. I'm amazed this plastic doesn't break, but it's surprisingly flexible. Oh no, we left the time adjust knob on there, and it won't push through the hole. It almost pushes through the hole, but that will break something if I try and do that. Damn it, we've got to get it out again. It does seem to be more agreeable now. Okay, that's in there. Everything's lined up at the back. Let's put the winder back on and our screws in. Okay, that's all back together. I just need a little bit of super glue around that corner where it was only originally glued in the first place, so we haven't actually broken anything. And it looks like it's time for dinner. I'll be back shortly to finish this up. Back from dinner, and yes, the clock's keeping excellent time. Yeah, an hour-long dinner break. We did sit down and have a cup of tea and watch some YouTube videos afterwards, so surely that's acceptable. All I have to do is just put a little bit of super glue around the edge of this casing, and the job's all finished. And just polishing that sticker mark off with a bit of Silvo. Actually, you could use Brasso or Silvo, and it does polish the case up quite nicely. Works really well on Bakelite as well. And just presents it a bit more glossy, and it's a good way of taking marks off without using solvents. There we go, that's cleaned up pretty well. How's that look? Not much different from how we first got it, but it's working perfectly. It's keeping excellent time, and we can adjust the time now without any fear of not moving the hour hand. And of course, as the clock runs, it will move the hour hand, which is vitally important. 7:16, we'll go back to the right time. And we'll give it a run for a day or two. We'll probably have it running in the shop. So beautiful little 1920s, maybe 30s era dressing table clock. Now it's been lubed and it's been repaired. All good to go. Job's finished, guys. Happily ticking away. I'll take that back into Christine, and I think she's going to put it in the shop. It was in one of her deals. What's it worth? Probably $30 or $40. Should see a sale. It's a cute little clock, and it's in pretty good condition for its age, considering a lot of these ones don't survive very well. So there you go. Thanks for watching, guys. Another little repair job. Got lots to do. I'm going to keep them coming. Hope you're enjoying it. Bye for now.